Hi guys, Mike with Fights with Friends here, and I'm here to bring you some pretty frustrating news. USADA's record has been less than perfect as of recently. We all know Josh Barnett faced up to a 4-year suspension for an out of contest drug test. They said that he had a USADA violation, and it was overturned. They said it was obviously, not only was it obviously a tainted supplement, he did everything within USADA's rules to be on the up and up about what supplements he was taking. He gave them his list of supplements that he was taking. So they had all those supplements to take, and he hasn't been able to fight since 2016 was the last time he fought because of this. As such, late in 2016. So you're looking at 18 months pretty much that this guy wasn't able to fight. It was finally just turned over March 22nd. Josh Barnett said on Twitter, "I proved my innocence as I stated from the beginning, and now I can look towards getting back in the ring in the near future. The time I lost, though, can never be regained. It should not have had come to all of this." Of course, he had a test that he failed on in 2009, and that's what they were saying. The finding of a contained supplement, they factored that in, but he had a 2009 anti-doping violation from the California State Athletic Commission, and that's what upped his penalty to 4 years. The anti-doping agency initially offered him a 2-year term before then offering an 18-month suspension as a reduced punishment, and he kept on saying, no, I'm not going to take this. Now, to be fair to everybody involved, Josh Barnett has tested positive in the past numerous times. All the way back to 2001, he received the warning after failing a post-fight test for steroids after UFC 34. A year after that, he was stripped of the UFC heavyweight title after failing another steroid test after a win over Randy Couture. So you can see why they were watching this guy. It's not like he had been a choir boy when it comes to this. But following that reprimanding, Junior Dos Santos, Little Nog, Antonio Nogueira, and Marcos Rogerio de Lima have all got their USADA suspensions lifted. This just recently happened. JDS, the most notable on that list, of course. Little Nog, Antonio Rogerio Nogueira, and Marcos Rogerio de Lima. He last fought against Ovent St. Preux in April of last year. All of these guys, they were reduced down to 6 months. The three men didn't get their violations reprimanded like Barnett did. With Barnett, they're like, we're sorry. We should have never taken 18 months of your career. Our bad. What they did with these guys is said it essentially acts the same way because the suspensions were reduced to 6 months. It's been 6 months since any of these guys have fought. USADA announced today that it has confirmed 2 compounding pharmacies in Brazil produce and sold contaminated supplements that led to positive tests of 3 athletes subject to the UFC anti-doping policy. Now, the athletes do have, and this is very important, they have a responsibility to give USADA a list of all the supplements that they're taking. I would recommend any athletes under any kind of drug testing, whatever commission is testing you, you need to give them this list as quick as possible. They're supposed to cross-check it with their list of known tainted supplements. I would do my own due diligence and do that also myself, or have an outside company, your agent or somebody else outside of it, make sure that these are cross-checked with the list of approved USADA supplements. That way there can be no question. It's like, you told me to take this, and you told me to take a tainted supplement. What you gonna do? So I don't know what you do about these pharmaceutical companies, which is not really supposed to be a pharmaceutical company, but it's a supplement company in Brazil that was producing contaminated supplements, led to positive tests of these three athletes. Unlike retail pharmacies and drugstores, which receive the drug inventories from commercial manufacturers, compounding pharmacies, which is what they call these things in other countries like Brazil, they prepare their supplements on site, according to specifications contained in a written prescription. And see, I didn't realize that there was even a prescription. So there's a little more. There's a little more to this than what I thought. I don't know if this is how it's done in the United States. In addition to medications, both compounding pharmacies invested by USADA also produce and sold nutritional supplements. Okay, so maybe it's a pharmaceutical company that also sells nutritional supplements. So sorry, maybe I misread that. And marketed their products as a safe alternative to mass-produced medications and supplements. Pharmacies also claim to utilize manufacturing processes designed to eliminate the possibility of cross-contamination. Despite their claims, of course, the compounding pharmacies located in Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, Brazil, sold contaminated supplements to Junior dos Santos and Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, who each tested positive for hydrochlorothiazide, and Marcos Rogerio de Lima, who tested positive for hydrochlorothiazide and anastrozole. These substances, of course, are prohibited at all times under the UFC anti-doping policy, even out of competition. UFC, of course, has adapted WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited list. After testing supplements, the athletes proved to USADA, the WADA-accredited laboratory in Salt Lake City, confirmed the presence of multiple prohibited substances in the product. This is a huge issue also. These supplement companies, maybe USADA or the UFC or some of these organizations, need to start approving some of the places that the supplements are coming from. Maybe that's too big of a job. I don't know, since a lot of these supplements come from China and different places. But if this is going to be a continuing issue where people are getting drugs in their supplements, I mean, there seems like there's got to be a way to stop that. And you're supposed to be taking protein and creatine and some natural herbs. And now all of a sudden you got cocaine and steroids in your system. That seems like that should be pretty easily fixable. USADA, so we appreciate the cooperation of athletes and international authorities in getting to the bottom of the situation, as it will hopefully prevent these problems from occurring in the future. This is from Travis Tygart, the CEO of USADA. It's unacceptable that these compounding pharmacies produce contaminated supplements for the public. What can they do about it, though? I don't know. It's another unfortunate example of why athletes must use extreme caution if using nutritional supplements. All too often, supplement products contain undeclared substances, including prohibited drugs that can be dangerous to an athlete's health. We are doing all we can to ensure that these types of suppliers are held accountable for introducing dangerous products like these into the marketplace. Now, I will go on to say that even though they proved that these were tainted supplements, USADA, reprimanded, basically, publicly reprimanded the supplement companies. All these fighters still got 6-month suspensions. I mean, I'm not saying they would have fought within 6 months. Maybe they would have, but that's on their record. So now when something else comes up, whether it be legitimate or not, this could be used against them as a second positive. I think when your camp starts, you're supposed to give USADA a list of all the supplements that you're using. Every fighter should be doing that. We know every fighter's not doing that. As we know, John Jones came forth with a list of many supplements during the California State Athletic Commission hearing that he had, not came forward with before the fights. Now, all those supplements need to be cross-checked by everybody, by USADA, by the fighters' camps, by the UFC. All these people have the ability to cross-check these supplements that are on this list and make sure that they're not on the list of USADA-bound supplements. USADA has a list of accepted supplements. USADA says, are telling you, if you take these supplements, we've verified that you should not test positive for these things. And then there's a list of banned supplements. Basically, it doesn't say banned, but there's a list of companies that say, hey, these are companies that have sold shady supplements in the past, and they've been known to sell supplements that are tainted with drugs. Definitely stay away from these companies. So if one of those companies is on the possibly tainted supplements list, and you fight for a living, and you're the UFC, a $4 or $5 billion company that puts on fights for a business, you're USADA, whose your only job in the entire world is to make sure that athletes have the correct things in their body and don't have things that they're not supposed to have in their body. You would think between these three groups, they would be able to get to the bottom of what you're taking, what you should take, and what you shouldn't take. The fact that we have four fighters just coming out, 3 just a few days ago, but 4 fighters within a few months coming out having their suspensions either reduced or retracted because of tainted supplements, I find ridiculous on so many levels. I think there's probably responsibility to go around, but USADA needs to get their shit together to the point to where they know where these supplements are coming from and, what is tainted, what is acceptable. The UFC maybe needs to come to a point and say, hey, you need to bring us the list of supplements you're taking. These are the supplements on here. We'll give you the supplements. You can go, and I know it's only in Nevada now. Not all fighters live in Nevada. But now the fighters have the ability to go to the UFC, this new Fighters Institute, and they will give them free supplements. They will feed them. They can get free workouts. Of course, all the body checks, all these different blood tests, heart rate monitor tests, all these kinds of different things that they can check on and stuff while they're there. They'll also give them supplements. They'll feed them. Francis Ngannou freaking lives there. I mean, literally lives there during his training camp. So it seems to me, like I said, between these three entities, there should be no reason from here on out to be hearing that fighters are failing tests because of tainted supplements. I'm sorry. We're probably going to hear it from John Jones. I'm already hearing it because he tested negative the day before. He tested positive the day of. He tested negative the day after. It does look shady. I have no idea what happened. But, how many times is this excuse going to fly? Like I said, and, how many times are fighters going to continue to buy supplements from companies that they don't know are tested? You're talking about a guy like JDS. You're talking about possibly losing millions of dollars. I mean, that's the guy with the biggest name on here. This is a guy that has had paydays over $1 million for one fight. And you're putting your livelihood up to some random supplement. And now all of a sudden you're getting popped and you have a positive USADA drug failed test on your record because you bought the wrong kind of protein, the wrong kind of creatine. This just seems absolutely asinine to me. I know I'm ranting here, but I hope I don't have to do this rant again. I hope these guys can figure this out. They can identify these supplements and these supplement makers that are shady, that are not working within the confines of an honest business and not doing their due diligence. And athletes not support these supplement companies, and eventually, if people aren't buying the supplements, hopefully the supplement companies will either have to clean up shop or go out of business. That's my 2 cents on the thing. Let me know what you guys think down below. Please like and subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. Who does the blame fall on? Does it fall on multiple people? Should these fighters have had their entire suspensions retracted? Is the reducing, is that enough? Is it not enough? Is there never an excuse to fail a drug test? Let me know what you think down below. And I look forward to engaging with you down there in the comment section. As always, I love you, I respect you, and I'll see your fine asses later.